الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد. Sahih al-Bukhari, inshallah ta'ala, will be having some introductory points about Sahih al-Bukhari. The full name is this long, as Imam Bukhari himself, rahmatullah alayh, compiled. So, Al-Jami'u, Al-Musnadu, Al-Sahihu, Al-Mukhtasaru, min umuri Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa sunanihi wa ayyami. This is the long full name. We call it Sahih al-Bukhari. And Imam Bukhari rahmatullah alayhi compiled it around that time. So he passed away in 256, Common Era 870. So it was around just 15, 16 years before he left the world. And it took him how many years to compile this book? 16 years. 16 years he compiled it. In a Musannaf form. Maybe the format is such, but that's more technical. It was a time of Abbasi Khalifa al-Wathiq. What used to happen before that, the people would collect hadith. There were many books collected even before this. Musannaf ibn Shayba, Musannaf Abdul Razak, Sunan al-Darimi Khuzaymah, Sunan ibn Khuzaymah, and a few other collections, Muwatta himself, Athar of Abu Hanifa, Imam al-Shafi's collection. So there are quite a few books available, but they were compiled in such a way that they would normally take the hadith and put them together. Because, number one, there were very few people who would ever concoct a lie against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because man kadhaba alayya muta'ammidan falyatabawwa maq'adahu min an-nar. This is hadith mutawatir. That anyone who attributes a lie against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam willingly, let him take his seat in hellfire. That becomes a deciding principle. So people will be scared of saying anything without having true, certainty about that. But as people moved on, there were many people who came to Islam and they started, concocting lies, fabricating hadith, throwing in things. Some to praise the leader in the name of hadith. Oh, I heard Sheikh so-and-so, and he said that Bani Umayyah are amazing people, hadith. Bani Abbas are amazing people, just to get some money, some benefit, worldly benefit. Praise people and get something out of that. Because the kings like it, isn't it? And there were other reasons as well. Some obviously from the enemies as well, but even the Muslims. Some spiritually sound people, they'll say, you know what? People following fiqh, going into this munadhara, they're going into different things. Let's bring them back to hadith. Let's create some fabricated hadith so that they get appeal to that action or that particular thing. With a good intention. But again, not appropriate. Even with good intention, it shouldn't be done. So then ulama got a little bit more serious about it. They were very serious with regards to just compiling and putting them together, knowing that anyone who would access it would know the liars, the right people, the bad people. They would know it automatically because they're qualified enough to know who the stuff you take. But then came a time where there was a need just to have only authentic ahadith, not the weak, not the fabricated ones. So when Imam Bukhari rahmatullah compiled it, and why he did, we'll come to that in a minute. He started off in Makkah, he completed in Medina, he was going to different places as well. And he presented it to his three teachers, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, fourth Imam, amazing hadith Imam, and fiqh Imam, and spiritual Imam. He was just Imam of everything. This is his teacher. Imam Yahya ibn Ma'in, another teacher, and Ali bin al-Madini. Rahimahumullah ajma'in. All three are the main teacher. There are many other teachers. He presented it to them. Yeah, Sheikh, this is what I've done. And they looked at that and they actually said, all fantastic. For ahadith, they were concerned that they're not the best of the best. Like, they have got some weakness. But the Ummah then, obviously, worked on that, both sides. When they both passed away, or everyone passed away, they kept looking at that and agreed that actually Imam Bukhari is right. His compilation is okay. Those four hadith that the teachers actually consider a little bit weak because they've got slightly stricter criteria as opposed to Imam Bukhari's criteria was perfectly fine. The hadith is sahih, no problem with that. So Imam Sahib is Imam Sahib. Imam Bukhari, when it comes to the authenticity of hadith, and looking at the nuanced discussion about it, hidden defects and those sort of things, he is the Imam of Ilal. So about 2,500, roughly. 2,500 plus something. So roughly about that much, without repetition. So Imam Bukhari would bring some hadith 7 times. Innamal a'malu binniyat 7 times. And certain hadith even 20 times. So he would bring in different chapters. In each chapter, the idea is to take ruling. He would take the ruling with that chain of narration, with that idea. So Imam Bukhari would bring in different chapters for different reasons. This is the beauty and the depth of these Imams. They would take rulings. For example, the hadith of, Abu Numayr. Ya Aba Numayr, ma balun nughayr. This is a small story. There was a kid who had a pet bird. That bird died. So he was a bit upset about that. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam found out, he went to see him and he called him with this kunya. Ya Aba Umayr. He was younger brother of Anas radhiyallahu anhu. Oh Aba Umayr, what happened to your bird? Ma balun nughayr. Just rhyme it. And he felt a little bit like, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is asking about my lost bird. He became a little bit happy about that. He had concern for that. The scholars have taken 70 rules out of this one hadith. 40 rules, 70 rules, different schools. Just by this one statement and this incident. Could look at, and when you read it, you say, wow. Even 4, 5, 6, maybe. Every other, my goodness, where do they think? What do they think? It's amazing. For example, you can call a young boy who's not yet a father, you can give them kunya at a young age without them being father. Don't have to wait for that. Like, do not need to wait to get married and get the baby, and that baby's father, then will call you Abu so-and-so. Even before that small young boy. Means you can have a pet, because Rasulullah didn't ask him to not keep the pet ever. And you can actually go to speak to someone who has lost even a pet, to condole him. Not a problem. A big grown-up man can condole or console even the young one. He can travel from his place to that boy's place or wherever he is. He can cheer him up. He can make rhyming words. All of these are permissibilities. And then to have the phrase similar to that, not a problem. It's amazing. So this is what you can think of without any difficulty. But what they think of is amazing. Amazing. Anyway, so the repetition. And then if you take all the repetitions off, it's about 2,500. And with repetitions, about 7,500. Imam Bukhari himself said that he memorized 300,000 and he had 300,000 to his account. So about 600,000 hadiths to him. And out of 300,000 which were authentic, out of 300,000, there were 100. So there is 300,000 that he knew. 100 were authentic. So according to high standards. Good one. Sahih hadith. And from that, so Imam says, صنفت الجامع من 600,000 حديث من 600,000 حديث في 16 سنة. I have compiled, I have written this book from 600,000 hadith in 16 years. In 16 years. And he would not include any hadith except that he would do ghusl, then pray 2 rak'at, istikhara, and the dua of istikhara. And then, if he feels that he's happy with that, then he would write. So, 7,500 times 2 rakat, 15,000 ahadith, 16,000 ahadith, 15,000 rakat only to get the book compiled with the barakah and ghusl that many times, 7,000, 7,500 times. And he would put it in the right place. You can imagine anyone ever doing it for anything? I dare say that people, when they write Quran with their hand or by computer, In the modern time, perhaps they don't even have wudu. But inshallah, when they write with their hand, even in the olden days, they would have wudu, ghusl, whatever. But I don't think that there's anyone on the record who have been doing ghusl and then doing 2 rakat. I write in the best way. Obviously, perhaps that's not needed. Here it is needed. I want to put the best of the best in my compilation. So this is ikhlas. That is why it is just so popular everywhere. So this is the best narration, best book, best collection after Quran. Imam Bukhari actually has done amazing. Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayh, Imam Nawawi rahmatullah alayh, who is a Shafi jurist from Shafi fiqh, he said, ittafaqul ulama rahimahullah, all the ulama agree that asahhul kutubi ba'da al-Quran al-Aziz, the best book after the Quran, after the book Quran, is as-Sahihan al-Bukhari wa Muslim. Imam Bukhari's Sahih and Imam Muslim Sahih. These two are the best of the best. وَتَلَقَّتْهُمَا الْأُمَّةُ بِالْقَبُولِ, and Ummah has accepted that by agreement. So, وَكِتَابُ الْبُخَارِ أَصَحُّهُمَا, and the Sahih al-Bukhari, the book of Imam Bukhari, is the best of the two, better of the two. So, I mean, that's amazing recommendation or testimony. Imam Ibn Kathir rahmatullah alayh, the famous Imam, أجمع العلماء على قبول صحيح البخاري وصحة ما فيه. So وصحة ما فيه وكذلك سائر أهل الإسلام. Ulama and everyone in the Muslim world has agreed on the authenticity of Sahih al-Bukhari and its status, obviously high status. It's been accepted. Why Imam Bukhari compiled a collection of that level? What initiated it? What was the incentive behind it? Obviously reward, but why would you come up with this? What happened? Few things happened. Number one, as I mentioned already, there were hadith compilation, which was just a what you call brainstorming type hadith. You just bring any data. So the imams would go learn whatever hadith and they would put it there. The people were knowledgeable, they would access it. The students would study for the teacher, and the teacher would then clarify this hadith is zaif, this is what the students would know. So there was no need for a separate book for each of the compilations separately. But what happened subsequently, the people start getting less in their rigorous looking at this subject matter. The sincerity, their trustworthiness, the connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got a little bit tainted. So then they would come up with things, they would, wrongly attribute things. So Imam Bukhari's teacher, Ishaq ibn Rahawayh, many teachers, Imam Bukhari had 1,080 teachers that he took hadith from. 1,080 teachers. Next time we'll talk about Imam Bukhari himself. That's his own life. There's a lot of stuff to learn from. But here, he is one of his teachers, Imam Ishaq Rahawayh, one of the greatest of the Imam. He was a contemporary Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, obviously teachers. He once said, I wish I'm just now old, I've got my own compilation, but we have not compiled the most authentic. I just wish that someone would have compiled it from amongst you or my students, a collection which has just authentic narrations only. Nothing else, good hadith. And then it just occurred to him, he never thought of that at that point, obviously, as a young student. And then what happened, Imam Bukhari rahmatullah alayhi once had a dream. And in his dream, he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam lying in the bed. And Imam Bukhari, he has got flies coming on his blessed body. So Imam Bukhari is removing them away, pushing them away. He just woke up and he mentioned it to his teachers. And obviously he could understand that, but the other bit you always refer back to the teachers. The teacher said, inshallah, Allah would take you this service from you, which is that these flies are the weak, wrong, fabricated narrations. You would remove them away from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A similar dream that he had. So he then got okay, I will do it. Now his memory was amazing, and he was a most devout student, amazing student. I mean, someone could take a ghusl and do istikhara only to write a hadith. how much time it would take, and how many times perhaps he was not satisfied with this hadith after istikhara. He would do another ghusl, new 2 rakat, new istikhara for the next one that he's thinking. Okay, okay. Sometimes 3 times, sometimes 4. Who knows? We don't know. I'm just suggesting that might have been the case, isn't it? Can't be that every time he did istikhara and he settled on that. Maybe mostly, but not all the time. Which means he has done however many extra rakat. That's his sincerity. That's his devotion. Okay. So he's defending Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam against all the fake things that he did it. So Imam Bukhari rahmatullah alayhi, from his 600,000 hadith that he had to his account, he has to select. He can't do all the hadiths. He said that that's why he called it al-mukhtasar, summarize, concise. It has to be concise. He said, I've taken some of the Sahih hadith that I had from his 600 collection. How many? 100,000 ahadith were Sahih according to Imam Bukhari's standard. And he only brought with all the repetition 7,000. So 93,000, 92,500 or whatever are still quite Sahih ahadith, not in Sahih-Al-Bukhaari. They are found in all the other collections, other books, subsequently or some predating his Sahih. Okay. So Imam Bukhari put a very strict condition. There are certain Imams who have even stricter condition. For example, Imam Abu Hanifa's condition is even stricter. Imam Ibn Jawzi, his conditions are very. Imam Ibn Hazm, very strict. I mean, to the point that sometimes he would call Imam Bukhari. Some of them would say, "Oh, weak, don't want to take it." Even stronger. So they tighten the criteria. Imam Bukhari's criteria, and there are certain Imams who have very, very those are weak criteria. And Imam Hakim, so they would have relaxed criteria. So Imam Bukhari is just in the middle at the top level. Like that is why Ummah gravitated towards him. His criteria is the best. Because you understand the concept of probability. Yeah, you have the sensitivity and specificity. If you increase the specificity, yes, you would have all the good ones, but only a few. You would lose out on all the hadiths which are there. If you extend it too much, it would be all right and the wrong mixed up together. So you have to have a decent middle ground, which is Ummat-e-Wasat. So one is that there has to be a connectivity. I would not take any hadith, Imam Sahib would say, which has not got identified chain. There can't be anyone, oh, I heard from a sheikh. No. Who was the sheikh? Give me the name. So he would not accept that. The narrator must be adil, Muslim, trustworthy, not a mudallis. Mudallis is someone who would try to give you wrong impression. For example, I heard it from a sheikh here, but I know there's a bigger sheikh within the city. And I took some hadith from him as well, but this hadith I only took from him. And he took it from him. But if I say that I took it from him and then him, my chain will be longer and it wouldn't get that much strength. Rather than calling his name, I would say, oh, Sheikh so-and-so, mention it. And now you would say, he has met him. He might have heard it directly from him. He might not have heard directly. But he didn't say that. He didn't use the word that I heard him. He's not going to lie. He's trustworthy. So certain Imams would do that. Sometimes they do for no reason. This is as a habit. For example, you would say, oh, Imam Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu, Hazrat Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu narrated, bypassing all in between. But that's not tadlis, because we know that between you and him, there are 15 different people in your chain. You're not mentioning it because it's tedious. It's all written. But in those days, it wasn't. If you mention a greater Imam than the one who was a little bit weaker, you take him out and call him, then that's a tadlis. That is confusing. You say, an fulan, from him what? You should say, I heard from him. He narrated it to me, type thing, or to us. A certain Imam would do tadlis. for good or bad reason, but leave that for the time being. Anyway, but the Imam wouldn't take any with the list hadith unless it is just as a secondary, supportive, corroborative evidence, as opposed to the main would be at the top. He would just take at a subject heading, for example, not as a hadith. Memory should be very sharp and bright, very upright person with retentive memory, trustworthy, sharp memory, as I said. He should be good. He shouldn't lie at all. And he should be alive at the time of the narrator who's narrating from. He can't be saying, oh, long time ago. So he can go and verify if need be. So Imam Sahib, he added these. This is very strict criteria. Imam Muslim actually was a student, but Imam Muslim was not very happy with this extra criteria. The next one, he said he must have met the Shaykh for each hadith. Liqa. He said liqa is fine, meeting, yes, but don't say that every hadith he needs to prove that this is the hadith that he heard directly from the Shaykh. We know that they were together for this year and they studied for that many years. That's enough. He must have got it from the. If he says that I heard from him, that's enough. So Imam Bukhari said that I want him to verify at least once that he has taken this hadith. So Imam Bukhari's criteria is stricter in that sense compared to Imam Muslim. Anyway, with that detail, leave that for the time being. So then, are there only sahih or an authentic ahadith? So certain people would criticize. I say, no, there are certain weak narrations as well. That's actually not true, because in Sahih Bukhari, there could be not the top one, top of the top, not all hadiths are at the top. Remember, there's big grades and the range. So the certain narrations are not the most authentic out there. On the same topic, you would have even stronger hadith in Ibn Majah, for example, which is the weakest of all six. But yet Imam Ibn Majah would have a hadith on the same topic, but through his chain, same hadith, but through his chain, even stronger than that chain. But that's Sahih as well. In that range, it could be the Imam Bukhari hadith, few are on this line. Few. Majority are all on that side. And we're talking about a handful, really, a dozen or 2 dozens from that many hadiths, where people would say it's not the best, there could be even better. But Imam wrote it for whatever reason, and there is a reason for each of those. So that is why Imam himself said, "Lam ukharrij fi hadha al-kitab illa sahihan." I did not bring any hadith except for the sahih. وَمَا تَرَكْتُ مِنَ السَّحِيحِ أَكْثَرَ. And what I left from sahih is more. I know that I've got plenty of other sahih hadith I haven't brought. لِكَيْ لَا يَطُولَ الْكِتَابَ. Otherwise the book would be like an encyclopedia of 100 volumes. I mean, you're talking about 600,000 hadith. Where would you put them? You have to have or even if you just say all the Sahih 100,000 hadith, it's not going to be easy compilation. That is why he only wanted people to, so that they can learn from. So أحفظ 100,000 hadith sahih. I have memorized 100,000 sahih hadith. و100,000 hadith غير sahih. 200,000 غير sahih. So he's memorized all 300. He's talking about only the 100,000 sahih hadith. Okay. So what Imam did from his 100,000 Sahih Hadith, he just took these 2,500, or if you want to take the repetition, 7,500, that's it. What was the criteria for that? We'll come to that in a minute. When they heard about the book, they were just amazed. Someone is claiming that they have compiled only Sahih collection. This is new, novel. We heard people might do it, but like Imam Ishaq mentioned it, he wanted someone to do it, but not heard of. Okay, let's see. People came left, right, and center to check the veracity of the book. And then you wanted to verify it. They asked questions, they quizzed on different occasions in different ways. Imam Bukhari proven to be the master of the master. So much experience and expert in the subject that no one could actually question him about his book at all. Everyone literally, metaphorically bowed down to his eminence, his scholarship. About 100,000, close to 100,000 people studied with him, and he taught them all. And they obviously started teaching others. There's a hadith which Imam brought in his collection. The ladies came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu ta'ala. He mentioned that ladies came, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ghalabna alayka rijal. Men are overpowering us. They are doing way better than we. Faj'al lana yawman min nafsik. They're coming and learning every day. They haven't got like any restriction, but we have got. So we want to specify a day. Give us one special day that we just go and study with you. We don't want men to be there. Like behind the curtain, but it has to be dedicated to the women. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has appointed them a day. So they would come and listen and understand, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would teach them. And these and the similar ahadith encourage many Muslim women. Just give you a quick 2 points about two ladies, and many who did it. The Fatima Razalis, she when found out, she wrote and compiled Sahih-Al-Bukhaari, mastered it. And she was to the point that some people actually mistakenly thought that, oh, perhaps it was, maybe she was teacher of Imam Bukhari. Like she knew the book, like, wow, as if this is her book. She has got most authentic compilation of Sahih Bukhari. And Karima likewise, another one. She has got fantastic, very strong sanad. Her chain to Imam Bukhari and all the way up was very, very strong. So they're literally masters of the subject. And there are many other women were, many men did it, obviously. Okay. So the first issue, does Sahih al-Bukhari contain all Sahih ahadith? No. We already mentioned. Even Imam Bukhari had 92,000 Sahih hadiths left with him, not in this book. And there are many other Imams who had many other ahadiths. Imam Bukhari did not get any of them. None of the Imam ever claimed that they have got all the hadith under their belt. None of them claimed. The most any Imam memorized was 1 million hadith. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, the teacher of Imam Bukhari, he knew 1 million hadith. And we're talking about off by heart, with chains. And Imam Ibn Manda, he knew 1 million hadith as well. There's a few others. Imam Bukhari, according to some, knew more, but he himself, at that stage, maybe he knew more afterward, but at that stage, he knew about 600,000 hadith. And we're talking about 600,000 hadith. It feels like, oh, only 600,000. You can't tell me 600,000 names. If you try to memorize whole year, big challenge. Even the names. So, yes, all the hadith they were based on authenticity and also Imam Bukhari's fiqh. Imam Bukhari was a big faqih as well. He was a master jurist. He had a lot of intellectual abilities. That is why his fiqh was found on the chapter heading. We'll touch upon that in a minute. Some people would say, oh, Bukhari is equivalent to Quran. That's wrong and haram. You should never say that because this is man-made, man-compiled, man compilation, and that is Allah's compilation. So don't ever say. It's a silly thing to say. People just go overboard with so many things. Leave the thing as they are. Is it only Sahih Bukhari is the only Sahih collection? No, obviously not. There are many. Even the 6 major collection we know of, Sahih Muslim, Sunan Abi Dawud, Sunan Nasai, Sunan Ibn Majah, yes, Sunan Tirmidhi, or Jami' Tirmidhi, you can call it both ways. All the hadith in Sahih Bukhari are more authentic than any other hadith collection? No, obviously not. There are many. So overall, Sahih Bukhari has all the hadith which are authentic, or has some. And if you claim that 1 or 2 hadiths are not as good, or there's some issues, even they are either not used as a primary source, rather as a primary evidence, but there are other already there, Quranic ayat, hadith, and this hadith slightly weak just to support it, or it is subject heading. And normally, by and large, all hadiths in Sahih Bukhari are Sahih hadiths. That's fine. But when you put individual hadiths in comparison to other individual hadiths, same hadith with different chains, so sometimes Imam Bukhari's chain might not be the best. There could be other chains which are even stronger, but that doesn't reduce the level of Sahih Bukhari because this is overall the most authentic book. Okay. How many commentaries? Nearly 400 commentaries have already been written. That is back then. This is some of the Imam said. What happened? Imam Ibn Khaldun, rahmatullah, he said, this is a debt on Ummah to write a good commentary on Sahih-Al-Bukhaari. And people started writing and writing and writing and writing. So many writings, so many commentaries. The 4 or 6 maybe, the most common, most classical ones, and the, which are the major texts. One is A'lam as-Sunan fi Sharh Sahih al-Bukhari by Imam Khattabi. This is the first one, the foremost, the first ever written commentary. He died in 388, sorry, after Hijrah. Imam Bukhari died 256, perhaps, around that time. Sharh ibn Battal, obviously Ibn Battal, he did that as well, 50, 60 years later. Al-Kawkab al-Darari, this is Imam Kirmani's. And then we have Fath al-Bari, Hafiz ibn Hajar Asqalani. The most famous of them is this, Fath al-Bari. And this is the ultimate book, 852. And that is why they say, La Fath, La Hijrata Ba'd al-Fath. There's a hadith, there's a word of hadith, which means there's no hijrah, no migration after Fath Makkah. That was the statement, according to some, perhaps part of hadith, perhaps part of a Sahabi's statement. Anyway, so there's no migration after. Well, Makkah is, established as Islamic State, and you do not need to migrate from Makkah to Medina. That's what it's saying. Well, Sahih al-Bukhari is commentary, Fath al-Bari, written by Hafiz ibn Hajar Asqalani, rahmatullah alayh, Egyptian. Asqalani is in Egypt. When he compiled it, people start calling, what, La Hijrata Ba'd al-Fath. Means you cannot migrate away from this text after this Fath al-Bari. Fath al-Bari is the ultimate goal. Everyone has to go through it. That is, if you say that I've studied Bukhari and you haven't gone through this, as in like, not a student, but as a senior hadith imam or whatever, teacher or sheikh, you'll be, booed by people. This is a fake claim that you cannot bypass this book. This is the ultimate compilation. And at the same time, close to that time, and Imam Ibn Hajar was Shafi'i al-Madhab. Imam Badruddin Aini, Allama Aini, he was Hanafi, and he has written a compilation at the same time. It's called Umdatul Qari. And there's a lot of, back and forth argument against each other, sometime here and there. But Imam Bukhari, despite me being Hanafi, I can still say that Hafiz ibn Hajar is Hafiz ibn Hajar. When it comes to commentary, his work is amazing. For Hanafi, Umdatul Qari is very, very good book. It has got a lot of responses, because there are many ahadith that Hanafis don't take from Sahih Bukhari, especially with regards to the prayers and wudu. So explanation is given there, and the other hadith is useful from that angle. Irshad al-Sari, Allama Qastani, what he did, he compiled Fathul Bari and Umdatul Qari together and made it into a nice commentary. But it's a good book. And many modern commentary. Lamid Darari. This is Allama Rashid Ahmad Gangohi, rahmatullah alayhi. Amazing stuff in Arabic. Anwar al-Bari, Allama Anwar Shah Kashmiri's amazing stuff in Arabic again. Taqrir Bukhari, Mawlana Zakir, rahmatullah alayhi. Fantastic stuff. Tuhfatul Qari, this is in Urdu. Sayyid Ahmad Palanpuri Sahib, rahmatullah alayhi. Amazing. He just passed away a couple of years ago. He was Shaykh al-Hadith of Darul Uloom in India. In Amul Bari, Mufti Taqi Usmani's compilation, his notes, his lectures, people have been compiling it. I think there were 12, 13 volumes out, not finished yet, but I think coming there. Kashf al-Bari, which is from Mawlana Salimullah Khan Sahib. This Mawlana Rahmatullah, he's a teacher of Imam Mufti Taqi Usmani Sahib. He should be above that. Kashf al-Bari. I met him. He memorized Quran in 27 days. I directly heard him from him. Elderly man. So I happened to see him because I was just being doctor, and that was helpful. He had a bit of chest infection, and one of my friends who was a doctor back home, and I came to visit him, and he said, if you're free, let's go to Shaykh Mulana Salimullah Khan. How could he said, oh, I'm just going to see him as his physician, but I would tell him that I've got a lung doctor from London, so then you could come with me and I would go inside, and we did that. Alhamdulillah, I was so fortunate. And then we spoke to him for quite a few times, and quite a long time, and then an amazing discussion. I started interviewing him for all of that. Yes, he did, mashallah. I heard it, but I wanted to confirm, so I did confirm that. Mashallah, he passed away. Amazing stuff. Then chapter headings. So Imam Bukhari would bring amazing chapter headings. And you just read the chapter heading and there's a lot of fiqh in it, detailed ruling. Sometimes he would just make the chapter heading based on hadith. But that hadith he wanted to bring in the book, but it is not according to his standard. He's clever enough to just bring it as a subject heading. Ad-Din al-Nasiha, for example. Ad-Din al-Nasiha is authentic hadith, but not according to Imam Bukhari's standard. Slightly lower than that. Out. But he would bring that as a subject heading, not counting it as hadith. But he wanted to get the barakah of this hadith in the book. He has done amazing. Imam Bukhari was just, this is all godly inspired, work that he has done. So Tarjamatul Bab, it's called Tarjamatul Bab, chapter headings. And they've commented on that. Shah Waliullah Dahlawi, rahmatullah alayh, he has written 14 reasons for the chapter heading. Why would Imam Bukhari write chapter headings? Imam Muslim never had any chapter heading. Imam Bukhari has all the chapter headings. Imam Nawawi wrote all the headings in Sahih Muslim. Imam Bukhari had himself. So what would be the reason? Sometimes he would read Bab Khal, empty, no chapter heading. And underneath there's one hadith. Sometimes there's no chapter heading written, no hadith. So both of those are assessment for the students. When you study, I have left the chapter heading. Now you have seen quite a few of my chapter headings. What this hadith would tell you, they should make the subject heading. That's the homework. And likewise, you would just put the subject heading and not bring any hadith, because this hadith has already been brought in the previous case, some chapters. He said that fits here as well, isn't it? We can take the same ruling. One ruling there, another ruling can take from the same hadith, put that here. He wouldn't say it though. And there are many, many reasons like this. Imam Shah Waliullah Muhaddis Dehlvi, he wrote 14 reasons. Mufti Mahmud Hasan Ad-Diyubandi, the one from Shaykh al-Hind, he added one more to that. And then Maulana Zakir, that is why Maulana Zakir rahmatullah alayhi is called Shaykh al-Hadith, buried in Baqiyah from Saharanpur. He compiled 70 reasons on top of the 15 plus whatever to make it 70. Why and how would Imam Bukhari bring reason? And some of the facts and some of the points that they raise, you feel like, my goodness, how could Imam Bukhari be? That those two facts I mentioned, and then we finish inshallah. One is Hafiz bin Hajar Asqalani rahmatullah. I mean, these people know, for the memory is just so amazing, and the intelligence likewise. He said that Imam Bukhari would have these 97, 98 abwab, and each has many, many chapters. The chapter, at the end of each chapter and at the end of each book, this is main text, Sahih Al-Bukhaari, under which comes books, book of Tahara, book of Salah, book of Zakat, like this. In each book, there'll be chapters. So each book would end with a hadith that would hint towards the ending of the chapter. And in each chapter, there will be a hadith, like he wrote, say, 7 hadiths. But the last hadith would have a word, or more than that, which hints to the ending of the chapter. You read the hadith and you say, oh, it means the chapter is finishing here. It means we are going to the next chapter. Now, to do that is amazing, but to identify that without Imam mentioning it is even amazing. The Hafiz ibn Hajar Asqalani rahmatullah, how much he knew about Sahih Al-Bukhaari, you could imagine that he could work it out. He said, this is what our Shaykh does. Obviously, he never met him. He said, 400 years between them. The beauty is this. Mullah Zakir rahmatullah said, I'm not amazed by Imam Bukhari doing it, because when you do it, you can have certain ideas, you can write it down. And Ummah didn't know it. But I'm more amazed by Hafiz ibn Hajar. How could he work it out? I mean, you're reading and you're reading so attentively that each hadith, so Imam Hafiz ibn Hajar Asqalani had all that. That is why he's Amir al-Mu'minin fil Hadith. He knew each hadith, where the hadith is, and then he was checking. Same thing again. He could pick that salient feature. And many features Hafiz has picked like this. You feel like, wow. And remember, these are all handwritten books. Now you can Google it, you can ask your AI, get me all the last hadith of Sahih-Al-Bukhaari, and you can work it out. They had this in their mind automatically. So, for example, the hadith, Imam, when Sayyidina Jarir ibn Abdullah al-Bajali, rahmatullah alayh, so Mughira bin Shu'bah radiallahu ta'ala was the head governor. And when he passed away, they got the news. They're all sitting in the masjid. Imam is not coming. He got the news. So Jarir bin Abdullah al-Bajali, rahmatullah alayh, radiallahu ta'ala, was a Sahabi. So he sat on the pulpit. He stood up and he explained to people. And he said, "Oh people, our Imam Mughira bin Shu'bah, the famous companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we love him. He passed away. He made some dua. And don't you panic, don't you worry. New Imam would be appointed. And Imam Sayyidina Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala would send someone as a governor to show that I just want you to be calmed down. And ad-din al-nasiha is a hadith that he narrated. Yeah, I want you to be okay with that. And then this is the last hadith of the whole chapter. Then thumma nazal. He did istighfar after that, and then he did nuzul. He stepped down. When he stepped down, that's the end of the chapter. So a word like this, there will be a word like this. Like the hadith, last hadith of a chapter would be, then the dua would be, then we, die in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So death is the end bit. So words like this. He would use either in the hadith saying a word of imams of someone, which is part of that hadith, to suggest or hint that we're coming to the end of the chapter. Like, when we do lead prayer, how do you find out the imam is going to do ruku? The imam slow down. فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا. Everyone knows the imam is about to go to ruku, so they're mentally ready. So imams update that. So again, as I said, it's more amazing. How could Hafiz Sahib work that out? There are many facts that you would, if you go through some of the Sahih-Bukhari's durus, final durus, you find many facts like that. I just picked two in the interest of time. And this is the last one, and we finish. First and last hadith. Imam Bukhari, rahmatullah alayh, he has got the first hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّةِ. He's got last hadith, كلمتان خفيفتان على اللسان ثقيلتان في الميزان حبيبتان إلى الرحمن سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم. This one and that one. This hadith is from a Makki Sheikh. This hadith is from the Madani Sheikh. Ending it with Makki and Madani. This hadith, the Sheikh's name is Humayd, Hamd, praise. And this hadith, the last hadith, and the Sheikh's name is Ahmad. The Imam Bukhari brought 7 hadith with different teachers. This is the only one from Humayd. And this is he brought 3 times this hadith. Other Imam, but he puts Ahmad ibn Ashkab's here. So Ahmad, praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Humayd, praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Both side by side, beginning and the end, hinting that my book is the work of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the saying of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the action, the saying. And it is full of barakah. It is full of hamd, full of praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is beginning and then. And hinting to the Quranic ayah. فَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدُ فِي الْأُولَى وَالْآخِرَةِ. For Allah, the praise is in the beginning and in the end. And it's, beautification and the way Imam Bukhari compiled. Obviously, if you did your istikhara and ghusl for each narration, this is what you're going to get. So, amazing work. Amazing work. May Allah give us tawfiq to understand, appreciate, and benefit from the book. So, inshallah ta'ala, in our next session, we would do the introduction of Imam